In the stillness of an ordinary night, a peaceful Iowa street was about to become the stage for an extraordinary horror and tales of hauntings. On the edge of dawn, June 10, 1912, Villisca, a quiet and unassuming town, woke to a day that would etch its name into true crime history. The Moore family, well respected and beloved, were the unsuspecting characters of this tragic narrative. Josiah Moore married Sarah Montgomery on December 6 of 1899. Josiah and Sarah Moore had 4 children: Herman, 11 years old, Catherine, 10 years old, Boyd, aged 7, and Paul, aged 5. As daylight broke, it cast a ghastly shadow over the Moore residence as a neighbor noticed the stillness of the home. What was once a peaceful family home was now a chilling crime scene, the echoes of a dreadful act forever etched in its walls. As dawn broke, the horrifying reality came to light. The quiet town of Villisca, Iowa was shaken to its core as the bodies of the Moore family and their 2 guests were discovered, bludgeoned to death in their own home. The scene was a chilling tableau of violence and mystery. The victims, including their 4 children and 2 guests, had been dealt severe head wounds with an axe. Most disturbingly, the killer had used the blade end of the axe on Sarah Moore, while the rest of the victims were struck with the blunt end. It was noted one of Sarah's shoes, which was found on Josiah's side of the bed, was found on its side. However, it had blood inside as well as under it. It is assumed that the shoe had been upright when Josiah was first struck, and that blood ran off the bed into the shoe, and that the killer returned to inflict additional blows and knock the shoe over. The Moores' 2 young guests, Lena and Ina Stillinger, weren't spared from this gruesome fate. Their bodies were found in the downstairs bedroom off the parlor. Ina was sleeping closest to the wall with Lena on her right side. A gray coat covered her face. Lena, according to the inquest testimony of Dr. F.S. Williams, lay as though she had kicked 1 foot out of her bed sideways, with one hand up under the pillow on her right side, half sideways, not clear over, but just a little. She had been struck in the head and squirmed down in the bed, perhaps 1/3 of the way. Lena's nightgown was slid up and she was wearing no undergarments. There was a blood stain on the inside of her right knee and what the doctors assumed was a defensive wound on her arm. Yet, every piece of evidence only deepened the enigma, offering more questions than answers. Clearly, this was no ordinary crime, but a calculated act of savagery that had claimed 8 innocent lives. 8 people had been bludgeoned to death, presumably with an axe left at the crime scene. It appeared all had been asleep at the time of the murders. Doctors estimated the time of death as somewhere shortly after midnight. Curtains were drawn on all of the windows in the house except 2, which did not have curtains. Those windows were covered with clothing belonging to the Moores. All the victims' faces were covered with the bedclothes after being killed. A kerosene lamp was found at the foot of the bed of Josiah and Sarah. The chimney missing and the wick had been turned back. The chimney was later found under the dresser. A similar lamp was found at the foot of Lena and Ina's bed. The chimney was also off. The axe lay nearby. It was bloody, but an attempt had been made to wipe it off. The axe had belonged to Josiah Moore. The ceilings in the parents' and their children's room showed gouge marks apparently made by the upswing of the axe. A piece of a keychain was found on the floor in the downstairs bedroom. A pan of bloody water was discovered on the kitchen table as well as a plate of uneaten food. In the aftermath of the horrific discovery, the tiny town of Villisca, Iowa, was suddenly thrust into a chilling whodunit. Amid the shock and grief, the investigators had a daunting task ahead of them. Their list of suspects was as perplexing as it was diverse. Reverend George Kelly, a man of the cloth with a dark side, emerged as a prime suspect. His obsession with the case and a questionable confession raised eyebrows, but the jury wasn't convinced. Then there was Frank F. Jones, a powerful senator who was rumored to have a grudge against the victims. William Mansfield, another suspect, was suspected of carrying out Jones's dirty work, but the evidence against both was flimsy at best. And let's not forget Henry Lee Moore. No relation to the victims, but a convicted murderer nonetheless. His weapon of choice? An axe. However, linking him to the Villisca murders proved to be a dead end. In an era that predated modern forensics, investigators grappled in the dark. The crime scene offered few clues. The walls still protect the identity of the murderer or murderers who bludgeoned to death the entire family. More than a century later, the Villisca Axe murders remain an unsolved enigma. This chilling tale, painted with strokes of horror and intrigue, has left indelible marks on the town of Villisca. Its people, its history, and its very identity are intertwined with this enduring mystery. As the echoes of this chilling tale still live within the haunted walls, tours for history buffs, paranormal investigators, and the not faint of heart are available. It is believed that ghosts now roam the once quiet home, turning on lights and leaving cold spots in their wake. Would you dare to spend the night? Could you be the one to unravel this century-old mystery? Until next time on Midwest Murders, Mysteries, and Myths, keep your eyes open and stay safe.